In our previous tutorial, we looked at creating AP invoices when there were no inventory items involved. This time we're going to take a look at inventory. So if you do not have the inventory module or are not using the inventory module in your Glas-Avenue software, you can disregard this and just use the normal way of entering in an AP invoice. However, if you are using the inventory module, you'll want to either enter in the inventory when you create your AP invoice, or you're going to want to link the AP invoice to the receiver for the items that you've received in. So to begin with, we'll go ahead, go into our AP invoice section. Now let's take a look at a situation in which the inventory has already been received in through the inventory module under Receive Items. We'll start by going to the Packing Slip button. Once in the Packing Slip area under the Items tab there, we can type in either the packing slip number or the purchase order number. Go ahead and put in our purchase order number and hit enter. And now it pulls up the items, shows that they've been received. If the cost per unit is incorrect, you can make changes to that. And if you do make changes to that, it's going to go ahead and update the cost on the receiver that was originally done. In our case here, we had a purchase order number. It's going to update the purchase order with that corrected cost. And then also the work order that we've done in work order 60 will be updated with that cost as well. Down at the bottom, we have a shipping area that we can add in charges for shipping. Now, if your vendor bills you separately for shipping charges, you'd want to then create a separate AP invoice for those charges instead of adding them on the ticket. Now we'll go to the Edit tab. You'll put in your invoice reference number. If you need to change the posting date or original invoice date, any of that information, you can do that, and then save your changes. Now in a situation where the inventory has come in but you have not entered it into the inventory module yet, and you need to also create the AP invoice, we'll go ahead and start again. This time, instead of choosing the packing slip button, since there isn't a packing slip yet, we're going to go to the Items tab. And then down at the bottom, the New Packing Slip button, we're going to go ahead and click on that. Now we'll type in our packing slip number. And then if you're using the purchase order module, you'll go ahead and type in that purchase order number. And then it'll bring up the parts that need to be received. Now, if you're not using the purchase order number, you'll simply click into the part number field and type in that part number. Then in the received column, we'll put in how many that we received. If you are receiving in some flat glass, you can also put in the dimension in the dimension column there. Again, we could change the cost if necessary. And then here, let's take a look at another situation that happens, especially with auto glasses, that the vendor has not sent us the part that we've ordered, but sent us an interchange part. And if that's the case, then in the Received As column, we would click into it, and then we would type in the part number that the vendor did send us. So let's say in this case we got a 1658 instead. Now what'll happen is the work order 61 will be updated. In the Stock As field, it will show the 1658, and then when that work order is changed into an invoice, it will take the 1658 out of our stock instead of the 1659 that's on the work order. Again, we could add in shipping charges if necessary, and we'd go back to the Edit tab and enter in our invoice or reference number, and then save our changes. One last thing to look at, sometimes we may be ordering some parts just for stock. We would still receive them in and create our AP invoice basically the same way. We would first go to the Items tab. We would choose New Packing Slip, put in our packing slip number. If you're using purchase order, we go ahead and recall that purchase order. And obviously here I just have one part, but You may have numerous parts on there. If you do have multiple parts, if you received everything in, you can just go down to the bottom to the Receive All button and just click on it and show them all received. Otherwise, you can go to the Received column and put in how many you've received. And we'll go ahead and take a look here. Let's say we only received 3 of these instead of 4. So once we put in the 3, you'll see that in the To Receive column it shows that there's 1 left to receive. Now if we are going to get that 1 at a later date, we can leave it this way, and then when we go to do our next invoice we can receive in that last one. However, if we're not going to be receiving that last one, we want to make sure to indicate that we're not going to receive it so that the purchase order can be closed out on that part. So what we'll do is in the To Receive column, we'll change it to 0. And now the program knows that we're not going to be receiving any more. And then again here we don't have any pricing in, so we could just put in our pricing. And now on the Edit tab, put in our reference number and save our changes. So again, anytime you're receiving in an invoice that has inventoried items, you can either recall the receiver that was already done in the inventory module and attach it to the invoice, which will speed up your process because then all the parts and pricing should be there. Or if you haven't received the parts in yet, it allows you to create your AP invoice as well as receive in the parts all in one step.